my name is Esther Rutter and I'm the Learning Manager at the Robert Burns Birthplace Museum. It's my job to make sure that everyone who visits the site learns something about Robert Burns, and today I'm going to be talking about how to write a poem like Burns. So we're going to use a real object that belonged to Robert Burns to inspire us to write our poem today. I've brought with me a sock that belonged to Robert Burns. It was made especially for him, and if we look at it we can see that it has his initials worked into the top, RB. So when you start to write a poem you need to really carefully look at the thing or the object or the place or the person that you're basing your poem on. So we're quickly just going to have a look at the sock and we're going to see what colour it is. So it's kind of beige and blue. We're going to see that it's very well darned on the heel, and this shows us that the family were probably quite poor. They couldn't afford just to buy a new sock. It also will have kept his feet warm, and you can imagine just how cold it was living in a house with only a fire to keep you warm. Because it's been on his feet, it may have been quite smelly. So that's maybe something that we want to bring into our poem. And not forgetting, of course, those important Scots words. Now, the Scots word for a sock is a stockin, and the Scots word for smelly is reekin. So there you've got two good Scots words, stockin and reekin, and by happy coincidence, they also rhyme. Because most of Burns's poetry did rhyme. Today we're only going to be writing a short poem called an epigram. An epigram is a 2 or 4 line poem which often rhymes and is often humorous in its nature. So, using the words that we've just described, we're going to call our poem Robin's Reekin Stockin. Now, we haven't called it Rabbie's Reekin Stockin because this wasn't actually what Robert Burns, the name that Robert Burns used to refer to himself, and neither did his family. They always called him Robin, and in fact in his poem Rantin' Rovin' Robin you can see that he uses that name as well. So this is Robin's Reekin Stockin. Warm and darned and reekin, Robin's old blue stockin. So it's short, it rhymes, and it's quite funny because it's about a smelly sock. So if you want to write a poem like Robert Burns, there are a few key things to remember. Learn as much as you can and read as much as you can so that you'll know how other writers write. Don't be afraid to use the language that's being spoken around you all the time, such as the Scots language, just like Robert Burns used. Thirdly, look really closely at the things around you and draw your inspiration directly from real life. And finally, don't be afraid to use loads and loads of descriptive words. They don't necessarily have to be what you might think of as proper English. Anything that you hear around you can be used in a poem. And that's how to write a poem like Robert Burns.